even the South African police to force them off the land so that Anglo-Plats can exploit that land. That's part 2 of the story. Part 3. The South African government, or at any rate the ANC, which is also the South African government, has, through one of its subdivisions, purchased substantial shares in Anglo-Plats, so that every time Anglo-Plats makes money, ANC will get a portion of that money, probably for their next December fight, which we all know is coming up. However, they will have a lot of campaign money in their war chest to fight the vote and the whole succession battle. So, here's the point. The ANC, if it is faced with the question of people being thrown off the land, or alternatively, of being with a corporation that is making money while it is throwing people off the land, the ANC, because of its own interests, is likely to be part of the process of evicting those people, regardless of where they go, whether they starve or whether they die with their children in the winter exposed to the bitter cold. All that is unimportant. We're back to the central issue. Capitalism makes profit more important than people. Capitalism turns people into commodities. Capitalism dehumanizes both the worker and the capitalist who exploits it, makes them ruthless in their pursuit of profit. So this is what I had written about, and it is still true. And when I am told, oh, my ideas are dead, they are no longer relevant, I felt I had the right to come back, defend myself, come back and say, hold on, the ideas as I set them forth are still valid today, and worse, you can actually see them in operation in our time. And out of the understanding of that process, I hope, out of that understanding, I hope, will eventually come the organized resistance which I predicted. That I said the time will come when this self-destructive process, this dehumanizing process, will be challenged as people understand how they are oppressed and how the process of oppression works and what is the logic of that process of oppression. And so I say to you, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak to you. I thank you for being willing to come and to hear my defense of my ideas. It is true. It is true, and I have been reproached. And there are people who quote this against me. They say, Marx said, religion is the opium of the people. Opium of the people. And I have to say, it is true. It is what I said. But the people who use that quotation are only using a fraction of that quotation. So let me remind you of what the full quotation is. I said, religion is the sigh of the oppressed. It is an expression of their misery. It is an expression of their need for relief. And everybody is entitled to relief. So it seems to me it is true in that sense, as I said in the original quotation. Religion is the opium of the people. And I will stand by that. Of course, there were times when I was myself forced. I remember one occasion when at Christmas we formed a little circle and we were singing Christmas carols there. And a lot of people, I suppose, could be quite shocked and say, Marx, the atheist, singing Christmas carols? Well, it is quite true that we did it. So there are things for which I accept criticism. And I concede where I have made errors. And so I hope you will not resent my coming back in order to defend myself and my ideas. I should add one other interesting little footnote, if you like. It is true that I suffered from boils. I suffered severely from boils. I had difficulty sitting down. And there are people who have the theory, oh, Marx was only an angry man because he had these boils. You know, others, sometimes a man hated his father or his mother didn't love him, or he got beaten at school. Everybody has some kind of psychological hang-up. Okay, so in Marx's case, he had these boils. And that explains why he wrote all that angry work. And I have to tell you, when I went to the doctors, they didn't seem able to help me. And of course, I had the boils. They didn't have the boils. So they didn't really understand what I was struggling about. But we discovered a very useful kind of remedy. Warm water. Warm water was wonderfully soothing. So even in the middle of the night, Jenny would get up and add hot cloths to soothe my pain, my discomfort. And of course we had Lenchen, the young woman, who was sent to us from Jenny's family in Germany. It would not be true to call her a maid or a servant. She was more like a member of the family. And if Jenny was not there, if Jenny was in Germany with her family, Lenchen would be helpful in the middle of the night in soothing my boils and making life more possible for me. She was also very useful in going to the pawn shop. Every time we had to pawn something, she would go to the pawn shop, and then when we had the money to get it, redeem it out of the pawn shop, she'd be able to go there. So she really was a great help in many respects to us. But it is not true. It is not true that I wrote Das Kapital, and it took me 15 years of research, working in the British Museum, in the British Library, in that magnificent reading room. It is not true that I wrote it, Das Kapital, because of boils or discomfort. It was above all walking through those dark and dirty streets of London, with the poor, the miserable, the anguished, the beggars sleeping in the snow because they had nowhere to go. It was that moved me to anger, that moved me to an analysis of the causes of that misery, and then to go beyond that to say, there is a way to resist it. We can understand it. We can organize against it. We can mobilize against it. And that was the call of the Communist Manifesto when we said to the workers of the world, to the proletarians of the world, to the men and women of the world who are oppressed, to say to them, unite. Unite and combine in struggle until we achieve a just and a decent and a humane world for everybody, workers of the world. Unite, unite, unite. Thank you.